So there was this event recently called CancelCon, and it had Dave Rubin in it, Ben Shapiro, Adam Carolla, Dennis Prager. These are people who are now pretty, openly right-wing pundits. Like, this is how they view themselves, right-wing commentators, however you want to describe them. So they sat around, and they did a bunch of conservative talking points all day. That's basically what this thing was. Incredibly cringeworthy, the whole thing was. I mean, it's not... Like, I'm kind of amazed that they still think they're being, edgy. It's like, no, you're just doing standard conservative politics. That's what you're doing. It's not new. You guys are permanently stuck in the year 2014 mentally. That appears to be what's going on here. But anyway, I digress. If you want to watch it, I don't know why you would, but it's up on YouTube. You can find it. By the way, the numbers weren't even that good. You would think that if it's a convention thing, like CancelCon, supposed to be, I don't know, Comic-Con for right-wingers or some shit, whatever. But the numbers weren't that good. But when the event started, they ran this clip that you're about to see. I have no words for it. I'm just going to let you take a look.
Victimizers beware. The racist and bigots' greatest nightmare. Social justice warriors. Get triggered. It's the bias response team. If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. The freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes ANTIFA FREDDY. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism. Starbucks windows don't stand a chance. Ethnic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. To see racism everywhere. Using the powers of screaming and shame. They win every debate by calling your names. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors.
Let me see if I can explain this kindly. The reason why people had an issue with social justice warriors, let's use their terminology. The reason why, and it wasn't just right-wingers who had an issue with that, there were left-wingers too, is because people felt like, hey, these people are really close-minded and they're married to their ideas and they don't want to hear people out and they're so insular, And it is the classic examples that people always bring up. Kids on college campuses, who try to deplatform some conservative speaker or something, or they set up a safe space because they don't, want to hear things that they find offensive. Like, yes, that's the classic example. But the reason why they were an issue is because they were so insular and so in love with themselves. And it was a very close-minded type of community. Well, the so-called anti-social justice warriors now mirror every single thing they hate about the social justice warriors. Like, if you go watch some of this CancelCon thing, I mean, these guys are a parody of themselves. Like, this thing was a joke. Like, these people actually love the fact that the social justice warriors exist because they define themselves in opposition to that, but in the process of it, they're just as close-minded and insular and up their own asses and in love with their own voices. Like, seriously, every single quality that they claim to hate about the social justice warriors, the anti-social justice warriors, fully embody it without a doubt. Like, I already know everything that they're going to say before they say it. They're so predictable. So this isn't like interesting or edgy or new or cool. It's like, it's at the point now where this is just standard doctrinaire expected opinion. I already know everything Dennis Prager is going to say, or Adam Carolla or Dave Rubin or Ben Shapiro. Every single thing. Single thing. I watched this video from Vosh where he covered a little bit of this. And he said, I bet one of the things that they're going to say is, like, men are not women. It's an attempted shot at the trans community. Say, like, men are not women, or women are not men. And then within, like, 2 minutes, Ben Shapiro said exactly that. Like, these people, what you're doing is not hard. What you're doing is not interesting. It's not incisive. It's not witty. It's you've become your own little obnoxious, annoying, self-important clique, and you just mirror all the things. It's almost like a religion in a way. It's almost like they have their customs and the things that they go through and the words they repeat. And there's in-group signaling and out-group signaling. And I mean, I really do think that like this cartoon is just a perfect encapsulation of like how ridiculous these people have become. And again, you're no longer part of some sort of like edgy subculture who's like, bro, I believe in free speech, and they don't. Because these guys, the other thing that really defines these guys is they're so one-dimensional, they can't talk about any serious issues because they don't know anything about the serious issues. So if you want to have a conversation about free speech or a free press or any of these things, I'm more than willing to have those conversations. But you want to talk about Edward Snowden? If you're talking about a free press, you're talking about free speech, you're talking about government persecution, let's talk about Edward Snowden. Let's talk about Julian Assange. Or when you scream about free press or the First Amendment, you know, does it not include the actual serious issues where there's government oppression? And I can go on. How many, statutes popped up in state books basically banning criticism of Israel? You can't get any government money under any circumstance if you boycott Israel. These are these anti-BDS provisions that are popping up all over the place. Have any of them said anything about how this is literally against the First Amendment and a restriction on free speech? No, they haven't. Of course they haven't. How about and we covered this on the show, there were anti-protest laws that popped up in a lot of conservative states with the Black Lives Matter movement emerging. Ron DeSantis just did it in Florida recently. Same thing. Anti-protest stuff. And you have anything to say about that? Actual threats to the First Amendment? Anything? Do you have anything to say about Trump suing Bill Maher over a joke? Anything to say about that? Anything to say about Trump repeatedly in his rallies saying we should ban flag burning and you should be punished with up to a year in prison? Anything to say about that? These are real threats to the First Amendment of free speech. Anything to say about that? No. They only bring it up when it's pink-haired kids on college campuses. Congratulations. Your entire worldview is through the lens of let's shit on annoying college kids. Wow, bro. Oh, you guys are so intelligent. You guys are so deep, so thoughtful. You're just reactionary dingbats. We see through it. We see through you. You're not special. You're not like the next wave of the Enlightenment or some shit. You're jokes. We all know everything you're going to say. It's predictable. It's stale. It's pathetic. Wow. You say, I think you should hear opinions you disagree with. Oh, so bold. Meanwhile, Dave Rubin, who is one of the leading people at this thing, he just the other day was saying, well, look out. Joe Rogan is moving from California to Texas and he's importing his bad ideas, his blue ideas. So he has an issue with an American moving from point A to point B because he doesn't agree with him politically. It's almost like you don't want to hear out opinions that are counter to yours. How many people at the canceled event did you bring out to, I don't know, defend Marxism? Do you really want to have the tough conversations, the hard conversations? No, you don't. You don't. Or else you would have had somebody talk about ideas you don't agree with. But you didn't. Because again, you're everything that you claim to hate. You're everything that you claim to hate. I don't know how else to say it, but these guys are pathetic. They're permanently stuck in 2014. And you do with that whatever you will.